As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the fuck up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lukas. It is Wednesday, June 4th, and we are back. The day of the doc. All right, day of the doc. And the Lions are making moves. We're going to break all that down today, and it's the perfect day to do it. We got the man that's pretty plugged into the Lions here, so let's get to it, boys. How are we doing? How we feeling?
Feel good. Beautiful day out, even though it's pouring rain. It's a good day, though. I'm pumped up to talk some. I'm pumped up to talk to the doc today. Last week was pretty entertaining. He's got a big show to follow up from last Wednesday.
Can't wait. The doc's the best. Big week to hear what he has to say. Obviously, he's been around training camp, like you boys mentioned, but just seeing what he thinks, because we know Doc, he's always not afraid to say what he thinks, even if it's negative with the Lions, what he thinks of the status of the team right now after the Frank news. So I'm interested to hear what Doc has to say. Whether it's right or wrong, the Doc always has something to say, man.
I forgot the Frank stuff came out after the doc last week. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked, but we haven't heard from the doc yet.
Yeah, we haven't. And to be honest with you, credit to the doc and Christian and everyone who writes for him, because we did just review an article and said who to everyone on that list, and someone was signed off of that list. So
that was who we said who about.
He was one of them.
Oh,
yeah,
that's tough. That's tough.
So yeah,
we just didn't do our research at the end of the day. Maybe we need to be a little bit better with that, because
I mean, what are we looking at? Backup guards available in free agency. Can't blame us, Boone, even including yourself.
I feel like we got a decent grasp on some guys. I did not know a single name on that list, and you know what? The Lions, it did allow me to learn something new, about a player that the Lions did decide to sign. They are signing or have signed Trystan Colon to a 1-year deal. Trystan played in 17 games last season, started 7 games for the Arizona Cardinals. He did not allow a sack last season, but he did allow 12 pressures. He played right guard last season, played a little bit of center, played a little bit of left guard, played multiple seasons at center for the Ravens. Yeah. So he's got some versatility to him. Last year, according to PFF, boys, he was the 29th ranked guard. Again, in the sample size that we do have, 29th ranked guard. So I look at this signing as depth at that interior spot, because they really don't have it. They really don't have it, and now they do. They do have another body in there, because they had Graham. Now he's starting at center. So, but besides him, I mean, you're looking at Miles Frazier. You're looking at Yodi.
Colby.
You're looking at Colby, which
Giovanni Manu potentially.
Miles Frazier.
Household names.
By the way, Cologne, not Colon.
It's Cologne. I didn't want to enter.
I was going to say, I hope it's Cologne.
Yeah,
Colon didn't want to like a miserable last name.
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, Cologne. But it is good depth. Honestly, someone that can play center, that's exactly what the Lions need right now, because if they do want to make sure that Tate maybe eventually moves to center, I don't know if I'm in love with the fact, like, let's say Graham goes down this year, or gets banged up, whatever. I don't like moving Tate to center, and then when Graham gets back, you kick him back to guard. Like it's like, is he playing center or not? You're either having Graham play guard all year or play center. I just hate you're mixing and matching all year. It's like, so I like having a guy that's like, okay, he's played center, he knows how to play. He's played it. He's 27 years old. He's not old. He has experience, and he's not bad. Yeah. He's not bad. He's not a bad player. It's hard enough to get offensive line depth as it is. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say about it. I think, like, bringing a guy like this in, he did start 7 games last year, and in that sample size, in the 7 games, he's top 30 at his position, which is like he's only in year 5 of his career, so he's still kind of young. I just think I'm not gonna count him out. If I'm just being honest, without being like trying to be funny or anything, like he's gonna, in my opinion, I think he comes in to like try and compete. I think this was him looking at like, where can I compete for a job? And they might have, Brad and them might have pitched him, hey, you can come in here and compete for a job. We have 2 rookies potentially that are going to be filling in here. If you want to come in and compete, you're not guaranteed a job. I don't think he's guaranteed a job, but you have a guy in Tate Ratledge, Miles Frazier, and Christian Mahogany who essentially are going into their first full seasons. And you're sitting there going, we don't want to just hand jobs to guys, right? Like, you still want guys to compete, boys. And I think he'll go in there and compete, to be honest. I mean, if he started last year and he actually he was decent numbers per PFF, then I would expect him to come into camp and compete at the end of the day. And it's depth. And if a guy goes down, like you said, Jeff, you have someone who has starting, experience in that room instead of, a guy like Colby who doesn't really, or a guy like Miles Frazier who's a rookie. You'd have to throw him in the fire. And so I actually like it. I don't hate it. I know yesterday we were joking around. We didn't really know guys on that list, but like realistically, when you do kind of actually do your research in regards to the guy, like for his career, he had a good year last year, starting those 7 games and doing what he did. And I would expect I would expect Dan and Hank Fraley not to just say, Tate, Miles, Christian, Graham, here's your guys' job. You're good to go. No competing. Let's see it week 1. I think they bring a guy like this in, and I think they had conversations with guys over the last few weeks and said when Frank retires, there's going to be an opportunity here if you want it. And I think he was one of the guys that said, "Yep, I'll take it, and let's go with it." So I'm excited. I don't think it's a bad signing at all. I think it's actually really good. I think they had to do something, and that was probably one of the better.
Can I address this? It's just this comment's just wrong, and we can't support spreading misinformation. It's completely off. This comment says, "LOL, nice clickbait, calling a man who took a sum total of 3 snaps at center, free agent center." Well, you're wrong, and here's why. His first 2 years in the league, he totaled 200 plus snaps at center.
Yeah.
So he's
in 3 years in college, he was a center.
So 3 years in college playing center, his first 2 seasons, although at times he wasn't starting, when he was playing, he totaled 200 plus snaps playing center.
We can't give a tour the light of day because he put stuff in the chat that's 90% wrong.
Because that is completely wrong.
He doesn't do his research. Tor doesn't.
He played center. So listen, he played guard last year, played a little bit of center, but he's more than capable. So that's the reason. He is a little bit of a hybrid. All right. So I like that. He's got experience at both. And that's
kind of like your Graham a couple years ago. At least maybe not as good, but just like when it comes to like the type of player. Yeah, and he's young. He's younger than Graham was, bringing him in, so you can work with him a little bit and kind of help him out in his career.
It is just crazy to think about, though, that less than a week ago, if Trystan Colon, however the proper pronunciation is, like if he was signed, we would have thought truly nothing of it. We'd have been like, probably would just be a camp body, whatever. But the fact now that this is a conversation where this guy could be potentially, to Booner's point, I do think it's a good signing. It's a necessary signing. It's not Zadarius Smith like everybody wants, but you just had an all-pro center retire. So the interior of that offensive line needs help, needs depth at the very least. It's crazy to have the conversation that he could potentially be starting over even like a rookie, because Booner, you are correct. Like, they're not just going to hand out jobs. Calvin Shepard made that very apparent on the defense side of the football. It's going to apply on the offensive side. The fact that he might be starting for this Lions offensive line is fucking crazy to think about. Crazy.
Yeah, I want to I want to address this comment too, because it's a great point. It was in a run-heavy Greg Roman scheme too. With that, when he was with the Ravens. So I like it, man. Good for Brad. Just adding bodies, competition. I'm not going to sit here and say that. Like he's still defending his own comment. I mean,
this guy at Tor, he might be one of the great chat member because he's active, but one of the worst when it comes to
this one.
Don't getting out. He's an elite troll.
Yeah, don't very elite.
it takes a simple, honestly, with the internet nowadays, it just takes a simple Google search.
So easy. I mean, you can go to Twitter and type it in, and there's people who have posted his snap counts.
AI, it's but yeah, it's something that we'll ask the doc about it, kind of how it came to be, but like it. I like the signing. But there is more stuff happening. Like another PFF list. Who loves these?
Hey, come on.
Hey, PFF rankings. They did a guard ranking list, so we get to check out the guards, which I want to see if Graham made the list. Hey,
after last year. Maybe his pass blocking efficiency rating to the left side of the quarterback by 3 yards might be high.
Yeah, maybe PFF. He's like top 5 on here. All right, let's get to it. Guards from last season, according to PFF, where they're ranked. These are pretty. I'll just kind of go through these. These are pretty simple. The top guards. I mean, Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons.
Dominant.
You actually brought the Falcons yesterday, Boone. They got a pretty good O-line. Joe Tooney. Now he's a Bear. Gave him an extension. Really good guard.
That's a brutal. By the way, that's a brutal one. The Joe Tooney going to the Bears and him just being the second best in the league at his position is that's kind of heartbeaking. But according to Klotz, that team's going to be bad. But they didn't take care of their needs according to Lukas Klotz.
They'll be.
But they got the second best guard in the NFL.
They'll be a level above the Cowboys.
All right, let's keep going. We're not debating over unders right now.
All right, Joe Tooney 3. Quinn, how do you say the last name?
I think it's Miners.
He actually, I think he's used to be a center. Actually, I think transition to guard.
Nowhere last year, dude. At least for me.
But yeah, that's I don't have a problem. Broncos have a really good O-line. Quentin Nelson, obviously, don't really need to say much there. Landon Dickerson from the Eagles. 6. Tyler Smith. Yeah, these are. I mean, I'm not really mad at any of these. Trey Smith, Kevin Dotson from the Rams, and then
good old Zeit.
Wouldn't
that have been nice to have in your back pocket right away?
Is that Trystan Colon? Is that Trystan Colon?
Imagine the next one.
Colon.
Trystan Colon.
Oh yeah. Kevin Zeitler. This is because again, people aren't talking about this angle enough. It's he's pretty good, Kevin Zeitler. And I know Mahogany and I know
big loss.
I know, and that's the thing. And when you say that, people assume that you're trying to like not acknowledge that Tate and Mahogany are going to be good.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we still got to see a 17-game sample size out of Mahogany, and Tate Ratledge is a rookie. So it's like these guys. It's like we're talking like these dudes are pro. Here's the thing: they could play a Pro Bowl level at both of them this year. And you're looking at this O-line going, damn, you got 2 Kevin Zeitlers out there. Or it could be the opposite. So you have to wait. It's a tough one to call. It is. And Zeitler is a proven guy. So you're losing a proven top 10 rated guard. And if there's centers, Frank would be probably top 3 on here.
I would have to think that Brad did what he could to try and re-sign Zeitler.
Yeah.
You would think. There's no way he would just be like, see ya, bud.
I don't think it was a Lions problem. I think, from what I read, I think it was Zeitler going back home. He wanted to go closer to family, so he went to Nashville. Because why would he leave the Lions for Tennessee, man? You know what I mean?
A chance to win a Super Bowl, it's just everything lined up.
And he gets to go to like an O-line coach he knew. It's like there's more to it. I don't think he just left to leave. I don't think the Lions had a chance, to be honest. And then Dominic Puny from the 49ers.
All right.
Played at Kansas. I do remember that. 11, Elijah Vera Tucker from the Jets. I don't know who that is.
You would if you recognize him. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
I'd recognize him if I saw him.
If you saw him. It's hard to describe an offensive lineman besides like big ass dude on the left side, but if you turn on a Steelers game, you'd be like, "Oh, I've seen him before."
Yeah.
I'm just you know who it is.
Okay. All right.
Very good guard, very good in run blocking.
13 Sam Cosmi from the Commanders. I'm not too familiar. I kind of know Sam Cosmi. I don't know. Joe Petonio, I do know. Damian Lewis from the Panthers. Robert Hunt from the Panthers. Panthers got a decent O-line. Not too shabby over there. And then now you're getting into this next kind of tier of guards.
Unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Sheriff is a free agent.
Yeah, that was the one. Okay, I'll say this. That was the one. I don't know what his asking price is. I would hope that Brad and them had a conversation with Brandon Sheriff. Like I would hope that they at least called the agent and said, "Hey, what's the price? What are we looking at? Would you be willing to come play for the Detroit Lions?" But outside of that, you know what I mean? Like he's probably the best free agent, and then you're talking everyone else.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a medical side. I don't know. I know that he has dealt with injuries a lot in the past. I believe because where was he just at Jacksonville?
Well, yeah, he was
because he was with Washington for a long time, and then he was really good.
He was with Jacksonville. Yeah,
and I want to say he got banged up in Jacksonville. So, and I don't know if it was this year, but I know he's dealt with injuries. So I wonder, Boone, to your point, the money side, but also compound that with the dude's had a bunch of injuries. He's obviously hasn't been signed to a team for a reason. An offensive lineman, if you can get a guy like Brandon Sheriff, if he's on the market, you would have thought he got clean sweeped up by now, even if it was by somebody like the Browns, or I'm just saying a bottom level team, like they would have picked him up. So I'm sure there's something medical, money wise, why Brandon Sheriff.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, he was really good last. He was really good. He was really good in 2023. He was the 8th best pass blocking guard according to this PFF.
Do you think there's still a chance that, say he is healthy and he's good to go, that the Lions sign him after this signing today?
No, I think too much money at this point.
See, I think it would be perfect. It would be perfect if you kind of knew what you were doing. If, like, for example, if you knew what you're doing with Tate, like if Tate was kind of transitioning to full-time center and he's maybe had a little bit of experience playing center and you knew there was a realistic shot he could play center week 1. Like, I'm not as confident with that actually happening. But let's say you did have center experience and you could play him there right away. I think then you bring in like a guy like Brandon Sheriff, because then you could have Brandon Sheriff and Tate next to each other, and then next to him, Mahogany. But at this point, you have all these guards. Like, you might as well just not sign another guard. You know what I mean? Like, what is it going to do for you right now?
I still think there's just like a world. I'm with you. I don't think they do it. I would love for them to. That's why I was hoping that he would be the one they signed. But I think I don't think I'm crazy for this. I think Trystan Colon. I think Trystan Colon is going to have an opportunity to compete. Like, I don't think they just brought him in to be like, hey, you're just a backup full time. I think they like want to push these guys to compete. So I don't think they would bring Brandon Sheriff in if they think, hey, we just brought this guy in to compete for a starting job. Let's bring a 5th interior offensive lineman in or 6th interior offensive lineman in to compete. Like, we have enough guys competing now.
Well, they still got a good old Cash Dolls man.
Stop.
Zadarius.
Why is that always?
I just do it to piss you off now.
Yeah, Klotz. You know what? I've learned a lot in my life. When you don't give a reaction, people stop doing what you hate. I've learned that. I always still react the same way. I probably shouldn't, but
I mean, no, it's one of those things where it's like you shouldn't do it, but it should.
That's why, and Jeff started to realize that about me a lot. Is I know I love to push buttons, and I know what makes you guys mad. That's why I do it to you the most, Klotz, is because your reactions might be some of the best in the world.
Oh my God, there's a ginormous spider on this wall. Sorry.
Grab it. Show the people. Pick it up. Show the people.
I'll go kill this thing. There is a 0.0 chance I pick this thing up, dude.
Come on now.
Those 419 spiders different. They're built different out there.
Looks like a big wolf spider too. I'll be back, boys. I'll see if I can get evidence. Thing's crawling though. It's going to distract me. Let me know about Peter Skoronski, the pick before Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's actually you know what? That's a good point. Peter Skoronski's out here. The pick before Jahmyr Gibbs.
This is off topic, Jeff. I was looking at the draft, the Panay draft, and the players that were drafted like 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5. Just crazy. The players that were passed up that went after them, like from like 4 on 5. It's just nuts. All right, Cody Mock.
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry about that.
But the teams we brought up yesterday, a lot of those a lot of those O-lines are on here. Broncos, Bucks, you know, all these guys at Falcons we mentioned, like they got good O-lines, man. Look, another one, Falcons. Matthew Bergeron. I mean, there's another one. James Daniels from the Dolphins. I've heard of him. Will
Fries.
Fries. However,
I like Fries better.
Yeah, I do too. It sounds better. But yeah, he's on here, which he's probably too low, to be honest. He's really good. I don't know, but whatever. Dylan Parham, Mekhi Becton's on here.
Becton, dog.
Patrick McCarry, David Edwards. There you go, Buffalo Bill.
Yep.
New Orleans Saints, Cesar Ruiz, Michigan man. He played center, got moved to guard though for the Saints.
Jonah Jackson.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
Well, I'm just saying, based off this PFF list, Bears got a better interior offensive line than you do. I'm just saying. That's what they're saying. Not me. I'm not saying that. Joe Tooney and Jonah are on here.
Oh no. Keep going. Let's keep going. What's 32? Who's 32?
Who's
32?
Aaron Banks. Of course.
Don't report. Did you say you're reporting? Don't report.
Don't report.
Don't report.
Just leave it. And
Aaron Banks.
On here. A Packer, by the way. So
I'll tell you what.
Every NFC North team but the Lions.
This is a brutal list for the boys, man. This is a brutal. As I was thinking more today about this offensive line, they're outside the top 5 for sure. You can't not have a top 32 guard in the NFL and be like, yeah, we're top 5 O-line. Like, there's no chance in this world.
You're delusional. I mean,
yeah, and you don't even know who your starting center. You don't have your left or right guard is in a top 32. You don't know who your starting center is. Your left tackle had probably one of the worst years of his career, even though he was a Pro Bowler. That was kind of just whatever. And then you just have Penei Sewell, who's the best offensive lineman in the league. Yeah, and it's just like, all right, Penei, Taylor, and then it's like the 3 guys in the middle, like where you're probably going to be running Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You don't know.
Would you argue that
it's brutal?
And obviously, Jared Goff's there. Would you argue that Penei Sewell right now is the most valuable player to this team, given the situation of this offensive line?
Yes.
Like,
I think Jared Goff, because he's your quarterback. Quarterback's always the most valuable if you're a contender, in my opinion. And then I think after that, it's Penei Sewell. And I think
even go a step further. Like, now that we're just talking about it, like, comes to my mind. Are we looking at what have we done the last 2 seasons with this Lions team? When you talk about the offense,
win a lot of games.
When we talk about the offense, where do you go first?
Top or the offensive line. Yeah, the trenches. I've always said that. Yeah.
You know where I'm looking first now? Just the playmakers, man. I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at Jahmyr. I'm looking at. You could throw in Penei. He's a great player, but you're looking at they still got all these weapons. I mean, that like. Is that the new, like, when you start? I know they're going to start, of course, with the run game. I'm not changing their identity, but like when you look at the Lions now, you're like, well, it's those weapons, man. It's not like
I think
guys are maulers up front. Like, I think they can still be pretty good, but you're looking at all the talent they got still. Skill position players, I would say. Skill position players.
The play action deep shots, I think definitely, not that they won't do them. But like when you think about like Chicago last year, where they had just the straight up regular bomb to J-Mo, and then they had the fake can't think of, or golf trips, and they throw into wide open Sam Laporta. Like, again, they could be running those plays, but not as often, because I don't think Jared Goff's going to have that amount of time. And I think that you're going to have to see this offense again. It's going to be very efficient, but the aggressiveness, that dominance that we saw last year and even the year before, they're going to have to scale it back and I think be more calculated. Like, I don't think you can look at making up numbers. Let's say on average, it took the Lions 3 plays to get 20 yards last year. I think it's going to take them 4 to 5 plays, and they're just going to have to kind of dink and dunk a little bit more than be like, hey, J-Mo, you're going to be down the field. Hey, Amon-Ra, I know you're going to be wide open. Just give you 3 or 4 seconds to do your Amon-Ra thing. I think Jared Goff's going to have to get that ball out of his hand a lot quicker, obviously. But, again, these players are still going to be on an elite level. This is still Jahmyr Gibbs, top 2 running back in the NFL, in my opinion. Amon-Ra, top 5 to 6 wide receiver, however you want to order it. Sam Laporta, top 3 to 4 tight end. Yeah. Jameson Williams, one of the better wide receiver too. So the skill players are still going to be elite. I just think the way in which they're used is going to be similar, but in different ways to get them in space.
Yeah, I think the thing with Jared, I will say, is he is one of the best at sharing the ball, like spreading the ball around, playing point guard. But the thing with that is he has to just be protected. I think that's the big thing. If he's protected, he'll make sure everyone gets touches. I mean, how many games the Lions have last year where there was multiple receivers or multiple guys with 5 catches? I mean, they had multiple games like that. Like, he'll spread the ball around. All these guys will eat, but you got to protect him. Like, you can't. I mean,
got to give him time. He needs
you
time
to let
to
him
throw.
go through his progressions, because if he drops back and boom, Graham gives up some. I mean, now Jared's already scrambling. He's not going to find J-Mo. Not saying he won't find him at all. Of course, J-Mo's going to have. I think J-Mo's going to have a pretty good year, but you won't find as easy as him sitting in there being like, all right, J-Mo downfield. I have the time to sit here and just boom, throw it 50 yards. It won't be as much of that, in my opinion.
The problem is with all of this is when we had Jason Kabinda on, what did he say? Brad and that offense loves quarterbacks that can sit in the pocket and make throws, right? And the biggest thing is, over the last 3 years when they were good, he was able to sit in the pocket and make throws. And we saw games where he wasn't able to do that. And let's say half of those games he was good, and the other half of those games was when we lost and when he was bad and threw the 5 picks and threw this and threw that. So that to me is like Klotz. Like, I know you say like, hey, the coordinators is the biggest question mark of the season. That's how you're going to win or lose a Super Bowl. It's just, to me, it's like, if you're off your offensive line, like if these guys step up, Tate steps up and Graham steps up and these guys step up, I believe they will. That's why I still think they can win the Super Bowl. Then you're going to win a Super Bowl. You're going to have a chance to win a Super Bowl. If these guys don't step up, and all season long, you're sitting there like, Tate's struggling all year. Graham Glasgow was what he was last year. Taylor's still struggling. We still don't know who's going to be in there. If it's going to be, how is Christian Mahogany doing? If there's question marks on this offensive line all year long, you're out of it. Like, you're probably, again, just like I said, you're always going to make the playoffs no matter what. But if that offensive line isn't what it is or what it can be, if it doesn't reach its potential, then you're like, that's the heartbeat of your team. I think they will. I think these guys will step up and do it. But if they don't, like, you're essentially you're done. You're done, because that is literally the heartbeat of this team. At least if the coordinators are bad, you still have the players to make those plays, right? Like, you're still going to be in games because you can just literally hand the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and say, go make a play. Like, say the offense is good, but the coordinators are bad. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have opportunities to still make plays. Same with Jared, and same with J-Mo, and same with Hutch, and same with Kirk. Like, those guys, if you don't have an offensive line, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the ball and get tackled. Jared Goff's not going to be able to throw the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
It's complete. To me, it's like the number one factor, the number one underlying part of this whole season. It's your offensive line. This has been since day one of Dan Campbell and Brad. They have talked about how important this O-line is. I think, and I could be so wrong, we could put this in our notes app, boys. Like, I think Brad, this is going to sound crazy. I think he did enough to address it. Not get to the level that you like, oh, you got another Frank Ragnow. That's impossible unless you just get super lucky and Tate turns into that. But I think Brad drafting Tate, drafting Miles, getting Christian Mahogany in the 6th round last year, bringing in the new guy today, Colon, I think it's like, okay, you actually have a chance to still have a top 10 O-line, and you have a chance to go win a Super Bowl still. Like, Brad did his job on a short term, knowing Frank's gone and knowing you can't get Zeitler back. All right, short term, Brad did his job and he did what he could. Because listen, like, you're not going out there and signing 2 All-Pros or 2 Pro Bowlers. It's impossible. You're paying $1 million guys. So what Brad could have done, he did it. And listen, I think it ends up working out, boys. And I think people are going to be a little shocked at how good this offensive line ends up being by the end of the season.
They're going to get better as the season progresses, because they'll have more chemistry on the field. I want to make this very clear, and you kind of just did. I'm glad you brought it up. Just because we're talking about the potential obstacles that Jared and this offense could have without Frank and with this new offensive line, it doesn't mean that we're low on the young guys. I want to make sure that's very clear. We like Tate. We love Tate, actually. We think Tate can be a very good player. Maybe even year one. Maybe. Who knows? I think he should be a right away impactful player. Mahogany. I'm the one who said this year, I think he really breaks out and becomes you'll start to see like, okay, that guy can be a future Pro Bowler. These are just opinions. There still is a very real possibility that might not be the case, or it just takes some time. That's all. Like with young guys, they got younger and they got cheaper. But with that, it takes a little time. Are we going to have these same concerns next year when Mahogany's going into year 3 and Tate's going into year 2 and they probably, figure out something at the center position? No, I think we'll be much more confident with the O-line. But the reality is right now without Frank, Graham is probably he's the odd one out. And this is what Ryan said. Ryan said, do you think the Lions could potentially trade for someone like Eric McCoy, like make a trade at the deadline, bring in a center? I wouldn't rule that out.
No, but I don't think we have to see what we have first. Like, you have to see how these guys are going. If you get to the deadline,
like, let's say Graham's not that good.
If he's like he was last year, and let's say Tate's just he's a rookie, so he's having on and off games, and Christian first year as a full-time starter, on and off games. Yeah, you probably have to make a move at that point. You do. How often do offensive linemen get traded at the deadline?
It's got to be.
I feel like I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's very like tackles will never get traded at the deadline. I honestly can't remember, because think if you're an organization, most of the time your quarterback, whether you're a good organization or bad, if you're a bad organization, you probably have a young quarterback. Got to protect him. Why would you trade a starting offensive lineman? The only team that I could see shipping away offensive linemen this year would be like Cleveland potentially.
But the Saints, for example,
Klotz, Saints maybe.
They have,
but
Eric McCoy's from the Saints, but they have Tyler Shuck.
Yeah,
they have why would you trade away? To your point, Eric McCoy.
And he's not that old.
I don't know. I don't think it's I don't think it's realistic. It's probably happened even in the last few years that we're not thinking of. It definitely has probably happened. Yeah. Oh, I mean, didn't the Vikings or the Packers do it last year? Get a tackle at the deadline? I think one of them did. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure someone in the NFC.
They traded away Ezra Cleveland, who was hurt, to the Jags.
I think it's happened. I would say it's just very rare, and I don't know if it would be something. I mean, if you're desperate, I would think Jeff or Brett. I said Jeff. Jeff would do it. Jeff would trade for it. Now Brad Holmes would do it, but I don't know. I think you have the guys. I'm gonna be on this all off season. Obviously, we're gonna see OTAs and we're gonna see training camp. It's crazy as it sounds. Like, I personally have faith in those guys that are in there. And when I say that, I don't want people to think I'm saying they're going to be a top 5. I have faith that that Hank Fraley can get this unit together to be a top 10 unit in the NFL. Like, I do have, and I think that's all you really need at the moment. You don't need number 2 and number 3. You have the weapons, and you just need to give Jared time. That's it.
Ben Blue says, Brad is more likely to trade for Browns wide receiver Michael Woods II than the center. Edge
I think Ben Blue was the one that did that as a question a couple weeks ago. Would they trade for him? And I went and looked him up because I really didn't know who he was. And he's had like 20 yards in his whole career.
That's like a Brad. Just wait and see.
Intangibles.
I saw Ronnie Bell out there today.
Ronnie Bell?
I didn't. I saw some pictures, but Ronnie Bell's working.
He's going to have a good preseason watch.
He's working.
Hendon Hooker thrown to him. JT Olson says Mike's got Jawan Taylor from the Jags, but he is ass.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Because they lost Darrisaw, so they traded for him to like.
What if the Lions traded for Joe Tooney, man? Imagine that if they did before the Bears did. Before the Bears. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, instead of the Bears doing it, what if Brad did? Like, that would just have been an elite move from Brad Holmes. Adding Joe Tooney, like that
the
would.
The problem with that is they gave him a bag right after.
Yeah, but do you think that he knew that right away? Probably not.
I mean, they probably, because the reason why the Chiefs traded him is because they can't pay him. They can't pay him. But like, if they did, like, let's say, like, fuck the money for a second, just in your head, like, just on paper, like it's Madden with the cap off.
What if we left training camp and your starting guard, one of them, just out of nowhere, Colby Sorsdale just has
I hope that you would join my conversation, Boone, of hey, I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. That's the case.
Yeah, if that happens, maybe.
You take the man out of William and Mary.
To be honest, though, I'm
Sorsdale.
I'm gonna be honest.
You're not about to hype up Colby Sorsdale.
No, I'm just saying. No, not Colby. I'm just saying. Say Colby won that job somehow, some way. Best man. I'm just saying, best man won it at that point. Like Whoever wins the job, I'm in. I'm all in on. Like, say Manu ends up somehow they put him at guard and they're like, we love him there. That, you know what that means? He beat out Tate. He beat out Miles. He beat out Graham. He beat out Christian Mahogany. He beat everyone out.
No, Klotz.
I don't think it's concerning. That's my whole point I'm making, Klotz. Is whoever comes out with the job, you should be confident because it's a legit battle.
I'll be confident if it's your second-round pick out of Georgia, absolutely.
See, that's where
your fourth-round pick out of British Columbia that didn't even take a meaningful snap last year.
You're right about it would be a detriment to their second-round pick. I mean, that's right. You'd be happy and sad. You'd be happy because it's like, dude, Giovanni Manu. But then you'd be like, wait, why are
you know what, guys? Otor spoke. Manu is not going to be a guard. You know what? He spoke. Well, it's over.
Let him protect Jared Goff.
Reported by Otor.
We already talked about this too. I mean, he's in training with Decker, so he'll probably. I want to see what
tackle. He's up next.
The big thing no one's talk. Well, I guess we did talk about it, but I want to see what Taylor Decker looks like. Like, think we're not talking about that enough. You know, is he
okay
back? You know,
Klotz can keep making these faces all show because he's been making the same face. He's been making the same faces since 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. and for the last week because Klotz is out on the Detroit Lions. I'm tired of hearing him talk about the team.
They're gonna be 4-13.
No. He's out?
The faces he gives about every topic, it's like the guy hates this team. I am excited to see Taylor Decker. I think he's finally healthy. I think last year, and you know what? I think it was something with Graham as well. I think Graham was like beat up last year. So let these guys get healthy. I'm interested to see.
He says he's out the dough next year.
Probably, but I still think he has a good year, and then I think he might sign somewhere. Like they cut him, and then he signed somewhere else.
You want to hear a hot take? I think he retires before he goes anywhere else.
Wow, he's like a Frank.
I think he might be a Frank. I'm serious.
He's like a Taylor Lewan. Taylor Lewan's like, I just don't want to go anywhere but Tennessee.
Like, imagine Taylor. Like Taylor, okay, he plays. He makes another $20 million, and then the Lions are like, hey man, like, we're gonna probably trade you. Like, if you're Taylor, your family's here, like everything, you've lived here for a decade, and then they trade you to like fucking Seattle or something. You know, it's like across the country. Like, he's like, dude, I'm out. Like, I'm out. Hey, you heard it here.
Some help.
You heard? Wait, who?
So Kyler Murray needs some help.
Oh, yeah, it's like Arizona. It's like Arizona. He's like, well, that's actually won't be a bad place to go live. But yeah, you know, he's got his whole family. You know, I don't know. I think he'd probably retire. That's just a guess. I don't have any information on that. But we'll see. $20 million, man. That's basically Brian Branch's salary.
But then who's your starting tackle? There's a lot of.
I knew.
You're in an absolute torture chamber trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah, I know.
To be honest, there are times where I'm like, I'm glad I'm not Brad Holmes.
Let's see. Peter says, do you think he'd be a backup at $4 million? No, I don't think he'd be a backup. He might take a discount.
Taylor Decker?
He might take a discount.
Yeah,
maybe because he would be a little old. I don't know. Would he?
Maybe like a 1-year deal.
Again, listen. If you could get Taylor Decker at a discount and he's not injured and he's playing at he's playing at a decent level, you do it. You do it. Even a bad Taylor Decker is decent. I know he gives up some sacks, but last year was bad because he was injured all season long. He was going through it. Do you guys remember the reports like every other week of Taylor Decker? It felt like Taylor Decker was constantly hurt. If he stays healthy,
he's always dealing with something.
Yeah.
Hey, we mentioned trading for good old Eric McCoy at the deadline.
We haven't talked about this yet. Oh my!
Hey, here we go. Hold on. Now, wait. Let me ring the buzzer. You know what time it is. Everyone, off your seat.
Get up!
We gotta stand up. We got another Trey
Hendrickson faithful. Stand up.
I mean, here we go. Ben Solak, ESPN. Wow. Look at this. This proposed trade. Wow. Detroit Lions receive Trey Hendrickson and a pick. Bengals receive second rounder, fourth rounder, 2026 second, 2027 fourth rounder. And then he puts potential third rounder in there. Oh, so you get to get Trey for not even a first, and I'm assuming the Lions will have to pay him $35 million a year. Wow, Oh, Ben Solak. Good for you, man.
Do you know what,
you're gonna have $70 million tied up in 2 edge rushers? Yeah, Ben Solak. Way to go.
I need to pull this article up real quick.
Way to go, Ben Solak. I mean, what are we doing here, man? Did you? I mean, come on. I need a little more. In-depth review of this, Solak. I do.
I'm gonna do this, Jeff. Let me play into the people who might not be smart enough and will be like, hey, if money didn't have anything to do with this would be the greatest trade of all time. This is a Super Bowl winning trade, boys. If there was no salary cap and you didn't have $1 million guys to pay. You have $1 million guys to pay. And I don't think I'm going to stand on it until it doesn't happen. I don't see a world where Trey Hendrickson becomes a Detroit Lion. I don't see a world. I would love for Ben Solak, and I'm going to bring the article up because he broke down the money a little bit. But even then, and then what he did, so to give context to this whole article, they did a bunch of different players to potential trades, like Jalen Ramsey, all these different players. Lions were only on there for Trey Hendrickson, and what they did is they had 3 or 4 reporters or writers on there, and each of them gave the team that they thought that player would trade or get traded to, and then at the very end, they picked what trade would be the best and most realistic and actually could happen. So let me pull this up.
That's actually a good idea. So I might have been a little aggressive.
No, it was good. The only problem is just this is probably not happening. So they obviously gave this. He said, why does this deal make sense for both sides? Lions GM has acknowledged the fan base wants secondary edge help, essentially. But if you go down a little bit, the Lions are still legitimate Super Bowl contenders and should have or behave as such with aggressive veteran trades. They have plenty of cap space to extend Trey Hendrickson.
I take back what I just said.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Let me show you this then. So here's the other trade. The Washington Commanders. The verdict, though. The team they picked that's most realistic that could actually happen. And the team that they said, hey, I think there were 4 total trades. I only showed 2 of them. They said the verdict, the Detroit Lions have the offer to get the job done.
This is like...
they break the money down a little bit, but it just doesn't... I don't know. It doesn't add up to me. It doesn't do it for me. They said you basically can give Hendrickson a 3-year deal worth $90 million, and it's less than the Danielle Hunter one.
All right, Solak, let me talk to you for a second. Solak
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make a lick of sense. Solak, I'll tell you why. When you're writing this article, which I'm sure you do, you do some great work. You do some research. I think this one you fumbled, because if you were to look into the Lions cap situation, they do have a lot of money, but it's fugazi, because they don't actually have a lot of money, because they have to extend 40 guys that are all great players. So in Solak's opinion, you trade for Trey Hendrickson, you give him 30 a year, then you give Hutch 35 a year. Now you're at about 65, 70 between 2 players on defense, and you're saying goodbye to Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, probably Jack Campbell. Throw in there Jamison Williams.
I mean,
it's all
everyone.
Solak. Solak.
I respect him for being bold.
I respect it, but it's like, I get it. People see the cap and they're like, they got to make a move. It's like, no, Solak, you got to look a little deeper. There's guys that are due, unfortunately. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to just look a little deeper, Solak.
Do you think there's people in the national media who just don't actually notice like all of this going on?
I mean, reach out to someone. If I was in his position, I would have if you have connections here in the city, like reach out to a beat reporter, be like, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this. Does this make sense? And I'm sure every reporter, like if it was John, if it was,
and reach out to Eric,
like they would have been
ESPN.
like, no, Solak, it doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense, Because
ESPN's
it would have been done.
Yeah, ESPN's pushed this like 6 times in the last month. Like they've wrote a million articles, and in it, it's like Detroit Lions, Trey Hendrickson, perfect fit. Yeah, like in a dream world, it's a perfect fit.
Maybe we should have Sol. I keep calling him Solak. Maybe we should have Benjamin Solak on.
I think we've reached out to him, did we not?
We might have.
Let me go to his profile real quick. I think I might have reached.
Maybe
out.
Hollywooded us. Solak's a hard guy to reach. I wouldn't. He's a tough one to reach.
I did. I messaged him. He never responded. I messaged him a year ago though.
So you've been on the Solak.
Hey, Boone.
Yeah, I mean, he put something out a year ago. You know what's crazy? I think the reason I reached out to him a year ago is because he put like a crazy article out last offseason, something about the Detroit Lions. It's like, come on and talk about it. Just never responded.
The price is up for Solak, man. He's cooking with these articles.
He looks so young too, dude.
Yeah, well, I get, in all seriousness, give credit to him. He's at ESPN. He's doing some things with his life. I just think this article, I don't see it. I'm sorry. And
I've just seen Trey Hendrickson to the Detroit Lions too many times, knowing like every time I see it, I genuinely get pumped up because I think in my head, boys, I go, maybe someone found a way. Maybe someone figured out a legit way the Lions could land Trey Hendrickson and figure out the money. And every time I pull up the article, it's the same thing. They have the cap space.
That's it. Click.
Okay.
Click off of it.
You got me again.
Because the reality, it's like in the only opinion that I would be like, okay, that's a fair opinion. If you said, I don't care about re-signing these guys, man, I want Trey. And then it's like, okay, I disagree with that. But at least you gave me a path. You're like, well, I'm not re-signing Sam. I don't want to re-sign Brian. I'll just draft some new guys. You know,
that's why when I have the conversation with people, I literally put in there, I go, if you could break down the salary cap to me and show me how you want to do it and what players you're willing to walk away from and the money you're willing to, I am in.
Yeah.
Shout out Syndicate, because I was in a battle on Twitter with them and I said, if you can just show it to me, break it down for me how it would work.
Show me
and shout out Syndicate again, but he's like, he goes, it's not my job to do that work. Well, no, if we're reporting it and we're saying we want it done and our opinions are to give opinions like that, it's our job to, how does it work? Why does it work? How is Brad going to get it done? No one has presented that to me so far. Ben Solak hasn't. Shout out Derek. Derek hasn't.
Ben Solak hasn't.
People in my close friends and family circle who want Trey Hendrickson, they haven't presented it to me.
Hey,
Klotz, maybe you could present it to me, Jeff. Someone
would now move, Boone. Do they have enough cap space right now to do it? Yes or no? Right now,
no, because the problem is you have to sign him.
I'm saying right now,
you can't use the wig now argument though because you have to sign him long term.
I am.
Yeah, this year you do, but next year you don't.
That's all we need.
No, because again, I'll shut it down. He wants long term. If you can figure out a way to, but again, you sound like all the people who try to say, let's do it. Oh, okay. I know I'm like a tour. I don't understand sarcasm. That's on me.
Hey, no. You brought up to Klotz earlier. It's easy to get him. Klotz, he's getting you now. Now you fell
turn the favor.
Got me. How about that?
Yeah, shout out Derek, man.
Shout out Derek. Yeah, I was in that battle with him.
He's consistent with the edge stuff. But yeah, it's really that. It's the pathway. You want to get Trey? Show me the pathway.
It's like Zadarius. I can show you a pathway to Zadarius. You have the money now. You only need like 10 to 12. Yeah, cashed out. You only need 10 to 12 million next year. And you can restructure a couple deals to be able to afford an extra 10 to 12 million.
Right.
You're not restructuring deals to get 35 plus million for the next 3 or 4 years for one single player. We can get 35 million extra for 4 or 5 players. We're not doing it for one though.
Hey,
it's not how this life is.
Hey, speaking of millions
and millions,
as Pat McAfee, the boys,
and
millions.
That is how many readers are checking out Detroit Lions on SI. And we got
buying Rolexes,
the Maakaron, the Godfather, the DOC. Had too many drinks on the tee. He is here.
Yo.
Doc Macaroon. What's up, Doc? How we doing?
Cheers, Doc.
Fellas, cheers.
Cheers. The world.
Hey, put that down, Doc.
Happier media member than the DOC. It's the last week of Detroit Lions practice coverage. We'll share with everybody, break the rules. Thursday, Dan Campbell's going to talk to the media. We're going to watch Lions practice. And after that, I won't step foot at Lions practice for 5 weeks. We can talk about boat parties. We can talk about the Pistons. We can talk about the Lions. We can talk about whatever we want, but this is it. This is what we work for. I'll have 5-6 weeks off with nothing to do. So you know what that means? Fire up the Twitter page. I'm just going to be drinking and tweeting.
No,
that's all you can ask for, right, guys?
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, there we go, Doc. Take a drink, Doc. All right, there we go. We're good now, Doc.
Hey,
whoa. Whoa, Doc. We don't have sponsorships right now, Doc.
I don't care. I'm looking for what. Listen, drink up, baby. Yes.
Look how big my hand is in this can.
Oh, yeah. Drink up.
Look how big my hand is. I got a mini can.
Hey,
drink up, fellas. Everyone in the chat, drink up. Cheers. Let's go. What are we talking about? What's been interesting for you guys? Any interesting Lions news?
Well, I'll start by saying two things before we get into the Frank stuff. First thing, we got to get rid of that bathwater you're drinking and get you some garage beer. Number two, how'd you play in the golf outing? I didn't get to ask you, Doc. You had a great time. Before we get to Frank, how'd you do playing out there with all the media? I saw you were with Neil Rule.
Yeah. I'm a big-time media member that the esteemed media gets invited to see Detroit Golf Club. They like the fact that I dress nice and I can behave myself properly. I can hang with anybody from the dive bars to the private golf clubs. The Doc is a universal
he's
enigma.
A chameleon.
Yeah, chameleon. And I this is the craziest. I'm so upset because I went to the range Saturday, went to the range Sunday. I was locked in. I'm like, I think my shots are kind of coming into form. I think I know how to hit the golf ball. I think I can hit it somewhat straight. Little bit of a distance problem, but I'm getting better. And I tee off on the first hole. Boom. It's a beautiful drive in the fairway. I'm yelling at Brad Gatley, look at me. I'm in the fairway. Brad's looking at me like, shut the hell up. Stop bragging. I've already heard this song and dance. And then I heard the news about Frank Ragnow. And it was just like, no, because I was on the second hole and that drive was absolutely beautiful. And so it kind of took away the carefree nature of was supposed to be a day off on a Monday. I had planned to kind of just enjoy the golf outing and talk a bunch of junk to every single person that I came in contact with. But Frank Ragnow decided to ruin my day. But in some weird cosmic universe, I played well. I shot under 100. I shot 96 legitimately at Detroit Golf Club.
You did it
but
for Frank.
Because irons were on fire, driver on fire, chipping and putting. Oh my God. I'd have an 8-foot putt. I'd hit it and end up having a 20-foot putt. So look at that form. Look at that sexy man out there. I got it within 10 feet. So ball up in the air. Look at that form. Beautiful tempo. Eyes down, head down. So I can
zoom in.
It's it.
It's good to zoom in. There we go.
I mean, this guy.
Look at that tempo. Look at that tempo.
Wow.
and that's inebriated.
That ain't Tiger Woods, baby. That's Tiger.
What a shot, man.
Yeah, that's what, Doc. That's just fundamental golf there. I'm glad you had a good time. I want to ask you. I mean, you're out there. You kind of already hinted at it, but when the Frank news broke, you talked about your reaction. But can you talk about what everyone else was kind of? I bet everyone was just talking at the event. What's your first thought when you come to mind when you talk about Frank Ragnow? Just kind of his career, how much you meant to the Lions, and kind of his impact without Frank now. What goes through your head?
It's unfortunate, man. It's a bummer, right? It's a bummer. And then now too, there's a kind of a weird sense too that people were like, that doesn't mean, oh, look, he put out a nice statement on Instagram. That doesn't mean he wasn't unhappy with his contract. Guys, when a player has no guaranteed dollars and they could be cut at any minute, you think he was happy? And those that talked about it knew about it back in March. So this is not all stuff that just popped up out of the blue. So look, when you make a decision, I don't know if some people in the chat have the ability to add layers to their decision making. So they think, oh, his health was the single only reason that he retired. You don't think he thought about, well, if something happens to me, I'm out, done, no more money. He looked at his contract and said, I don't have any more guaranteed dollars. They drafted my replacement. My body hurts. It was not a single reason he made that choice. He definitely wanted any player wants common sense. It's not like shocking news. Hey, Booner, I could guarantee you $10 million or I'm going to guarantee you $0. And which option would you be happier with? So it's not like a shocking.
I'll take $0. I like the grind, Doc.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. But every NFL player that has $0 guaranteed dollars is unhappy. So does it get out or does it not get out? So that's real. Clearly, it's one of those deals. I looked at it. My first thought was, man, it hurts the Lions' chances. It hurts them. It hurts their chances to win a Super Bowl. I hope he has a healthy lifestyle outside of the NFL. I understand clearly that it's a situation in which he didn't feel like his body could hold up. His quality of life would be impacted, he felt, and he already had $50 million made in the National Football League. He doesn't need to do it. But outside of that, I'm a human being. I care about how his quality of life is. But my first thoughts was, man, the Lions' chances took a hit. And I just thought, man, if he could just go one more year, it would have helped this football team. It's not going to happen, and it's a dip. Now you have to kind of worry a little bit, drink a little more, because you got Graham Glasgow and Tate Ratledge, a veteran and a rookie, and you got a guy that's only played, 15 starts in 51 games that they just signed. So it's a downgrade. And so for those that, I'm not going to disrespect Frank Ragnow and just be like the fans that are like, you lost Frank Ragnow, no big deal. Next man up. Not the case. I respect Frank Ragnow and the all-pro that he was. That's a huge loss. The Lions' Super Bowl chances took a hit. That's what happened.
Yeah, Doc, I do want to throw out there, I want to ask you this. Obviously, they're going to take a step back when it comes to that offensive line. Do you still believe with what they have with Tate and Graham, Taylor, Panay, and Christian Mahogany, and then the guys, after that, do you still believe this unit can be top 10 and dare I say somehow, some way they get back into that top, let's say 6 or 7 range by the end of the season? Or do you think that, hey, this is going to be an absolute battle and they don't really have a shot to get back into that spot again?
No, I perceived it to be like in the top 15 of the National Football League with the offensive line. I like Ratledge at right guard. I like Christian Mahogany, what they can do. You still have the best right tackle in the National Football League. You hope that Taylor Decker, his drop-off is not drastic. You hope that he can kind of maintain and protect Jared Goff. But here's the problem. If Graham Glasgow, everyone's hoping that if the veteran gets the nod, that he can step it up. But at 33 years old, you got to remember, the Broncos were not impressed anymore. The Lions were a team that took another chance on him. And last year was not that great. Many people do believe he's a better center than maybe even a guard. But, you pretty much got to pay attention to that A-gap, and you hope that those middle linebackers don't salivate and try to get after Jared Goff, because any disruption to Jared Goff's timing, that's a huge problem. So, but here's a silver lining. Hank Fraley is one of the elite offensive line coaches, and if that doesn't work out with Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge is the guy. And look, guys, when you posted about Ian Rappaport's report from the NFL Network saying that the Lions knew, it's not really terribly all that much news breaking. They drafted a guy that with a similar body type. They found, last year they went with Mahogany. The Lions kind of had a feeling that, okay, if it wasn't going to be an immediate retirement this year, that in the next year or two, we got to look to the future. And Brad Holmes, I think you don't have to worry. He knows the deal. He knows the chessboard. And so I don't think Ian's report is all that groundbreaking. Knowing that, I posted as well. I said, look at these body types. Look at the fact that Tate played a lot at center at first team reps at OTAs. They're same body types. And my opinion was a little more player friendly. I was like, Frank should just hold out for more money. Now, he took my advice in sort of a way in taking my opinion. He did the permanent holdout. He's like, I don't want any money. He's like, I just want to go home and I'm going to permanently hold out for no more football playing. And it stinks, but I think that Dan Campbell, Hank Fraley, and that offensive staff will figure out a way to manage it and maybe take a gamble. Maybe you start the rookie and just let him learn. But in a year where you want to win a Super Bowl, I'm more leaning toward and thinking like most that Graham Glasgow will be the starter. But it would not shock me, and don't be surprised. You heard it here. If Tate Ratledge starts the year day one under center, don't be surprised.
And Doc, as we keep diving into this conversation about Frank Ragnow, do you find yourself more concerned about the offensive line going into the season or the coordinator situation? Because Booner kind of talked about that question at the beginning of the show, and I was just intrigued to see where you would stand on that. More concerning, coordinators or offensive line play?
No, I'm more concerned along the offensive line. You're going to have two new pieces, Mahogany and Ratledge. They're going to get tested by some great defensive lines. And the Bears and the division is going to be wild. You play against some good. The Eagles game is going to be wild to see how Vic Fangio attacks young defensive linemen, young offensive linemen. That defensive line of the Eagles is going to be ready. And Vic Fangio, when he sees the young inexperienced, he's going to be salivating. He's going to be thrilled to try and test this offensive line. Look, the coaching staff is going to be fine. I know it's a concern for a lot of people on the outside, but you guys should know Kelvin Shepherd is just an extension of Aaron Glenn with his own ideas. He got taught by the Lions' former defensive coordinator. He's a former player. He's going to relate to the players. His intensity is already starting to shine through. He's going to be super aggressive, and I think he'll find a rotation that will try and keep all these guys healthy and get after it. So I'm pretty happy I'm happy with John Morton too. Now the question that people are going to wonder is the intricacies of his play calling. Can he use the knowledge that he gains in the first quarter to kind of expose defenses? Because nobody was doing it better than Ben Johnson. He was a mastermind at setting up opposing defensive coordinators with some plays that he drew up that were just great calls that were set up by looks that he got in the first quarter, and he found something to be able to use in the fourth quarter. But guys, remember, the head of the operation, the head of the table, just like the Doc. Doc's the head of the table. You guys are the head of the table of your own show. The head of the table of the Detroit Lions is Dan Campbell. Let's cheers to that. The guy is underrated as an offensive mind. I can't tell you enough. He worked under Sean Payton. He understands offensive X's and O's like no other. So if John Morton ain't cutting it, then what we're going to do is he'll sit down, he'll have a water with the Doc, and he'll be like, all right, Doc, off the record, I should take over, shouldn't I? I'll be like, have some Metallica music, and we'll be like, yeah, if you need to take over, take it over. He did it before. So I look, John Morton installed this offense. I don't have a fear that his play calling is going to be bad, because that talent, again, I love the talent across that offensive landscape. I think the more concern is going to be on defense. Can they step it up opposite of Aiden, and can the secondary grow to the level that we all need? I think the reason the outside world is scared is because nobody heard of John Morton other than he was a failure with the Jets, and that's a big deal. And Kelvin Shepherd was an underrated linebacker, but not a household name. But internally, these guys are great. It's an extension of the coaching staff. Don't worry about the coaching staff. Just worry about one thing. These guys got to stay healthy, because if they don't, they're not going to rebound as well as they did last year.
Doc, what do you think they do with the because they just free up some money, $9 million, and he did it post June 1st. So what do you think that means kind of for, I mean, you could go Anzalone, but maybe Zadarius. What do you think they do with that extra couple million after Frank's retirement? Where do they think they go with it?
Yep. I want to address real fast Mr. Buttlicker.
Yep, Bill Buttlicker.
What a lovely name. I'm not sure that's your government name, or you're probably a guy that took the name of his wife. Probably had to change it when you got married. I don't mind. I don't mind if you had to do that. That's fine. There's a lot of guys who take the name of their wives, and probably Bill's one of them. Look, we're all kidding around here. But I can honestly admit that, I am the CEO of the operation that I'm running here. I am the CEO of the Detroit Sports Podcast, which was partnered with one of the iconic sports brands. So I run things. So I'm very happy in that when people say, I always laugh when people say, when they message me, because I haven't really kind of overtly said it, they say, that guy should be fired. That guy sucks. Well, unfortunately, guys, I'm here forever. I will always be able to throw out comments on a podcast. I'm here forever. I run the ship. I am the outlet. I own it.
So you are the head of the table, Doc.
I am technically the head of the table, and I think you guys know I'm successful at it. So, Mr. Bill, your comment is factually inaccurate. I am not. I'm just being honest.
Let them know, Doc.
Let them know what they got going on here, that I'm the CEO of my own media company for the last 15 years. So if the first 15 years were good, I don't think I'm going to fall off the map anytime soon, unless I retire and just say I call it a day. But I like this too much. I literally love it. I'm enjoying having the time of my life in my mid-40s. Now, how to spend Brad's money. This is a challenge, right? Everyone's asking me, what do we do with this? What do we do with this extra money? $9 million saved, bonus money saved. Thank you, Frank, for some extra doing it June 1st to let the team kind of benefit from the salary cap, which everybody has talked about. What do? I think it just goes right to Aiden's bank account. I think that if it was 38, you go to 42. I don't know. More and more of you guys, I will say this chat, and a lot of people are saying, man, let Aiden play on the 5th-year option. Don't pay him. I'm like, man, it sounds appealing. That's what I said early on. But I just think that Brad is so loyal that he's not going to be shrewd. But he's kind of been shrewd maybe with Alex. Maybe we are wrong. And now we're starting to see the Grim Reaper GM who will not pay guys that are coming off of injuries and guys that are, have 5th-year options. Maybe he won't do it. Maybe Alex will be next. Maybe he's going to be gone. I don't know. I'm more of the go by the pattern that I see. And so to answer your question, I think that the money will go towards 2 players, Alex and Aiden Hutchinson.
Doug, I want to throw out there too. I know, and I actually don't know the exact day that you'll be heading to Allen Park this week. I'm guessing maybe tomorrow. Are you heading down there, Doc?
In my opening monologue, I quietly violated the rules. I'll do it differently this time. The next time I go out to Allen Park will be 24 hours before Friday. So Let's put that together. Wink, wink, what day that's going to be. It's my favorite day of the week. It's the day that every single Doc and Jock podcast comes out. And yes, like I said earlier, when I started and came on here, I know that you guys get enamored with my aura that I come on with. But yes, it'll be Thursday.
Thursday, all right. Minus the aura. I just want to know when you go out there, what are some things you're going to be looking for tomorrow, and what you might have heard over the last few days of OTAs. Obviously, we don't get to see a lot or hear a lot, but what are you going to be looking for heading into tomorrow and some storylines after last week?
Yeah, no doubt. Great question. OTA last week was a blessing. But a lot of us reporters are kind of feeling it now. It's the end of the line. Like I went out there without I just didn't even care to take a roster. I just went out there with my notebook, forgot my pen. We're all like on fumes reporting on the Lions. And the first time out there last time was a buzzkill because Dan rattled off 20 guys that weren't there. I'm like Terrion, Broderick, Tyleek Williams, Amon-Ra. I was like, this stinks. I was disappointed. I wanted to see a lot more guys. Hopefully more will show up this time around. I'm not a personal fan of the schedule. The third day is like getaway day, for most people. It's the third day of practice. So maybe you're not getting I would have loved to have seen J-Mo, Torch, Ennis live and in person, but it's not going to happen. So here's what I want to see. Here's what the DOC will be documenting and writing about, which you can find hopefully when practice ends, within 60 minutes or so. I try to empty the notebook and give you exactly what I saw live and in person. Others don't do that. Others pretend that they're there and write about it. I'm there. And I will share that I'm going to be looking at Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. I want to see the backups play a lot better. I want to see the second and third string offensive line units play a lot better. I want to see J-Mo flex on someone. I want to see Ennis try to battle. I want to see a little push on J-Mo. I want to see a little effort to try and stop Jameson Williams. I want to see growth from Ennis Rakestraw. I want to see hopefully Terry and Arnold out there, what we can do. Now, one thing that I'm disappointed in myself that I was not focused on at all, and he was so quiet out there that he just didn't catch my attention. I did not even pay attention at all last week to DJ Reed. Like he was quiet. It was just, I think he locked down the receiver so well that I didn't even write his number down all that much. So I will be for sure locked in on DJ Reed, who he's covering, what he looks like, how he's out there, my initial impressions. So those are the main things I want to see. And hopefully Jared Goff has a lot of opportunities. And again, Ahmed, I thought he was great. I thought that, hopefully another chance that we can see him do his bull rush and have a chance to see Marcus and Aiden do their thing. If they can continue their early start to the offseason, that's what I'll be looking for.
We're going more into the offseason now, Doc. And I want to jump forward. And it's a conversation that me and Boone got pretty fired up about. I said, as of right now, because of the Frank Ragnow situation, the coordinators, I do not view the Lions as a team that's going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think that they're going to be very good through the regular season. When it comes to the playoffs, I do not think that they will be hosting the Lombardi. Where do you stand on that? Do you think that this Lions team, I know that they lost Frank, I know that they lost the coordinators, but they're still a team that's going to go out there and they could easily win the Super Bowl? Not easily, but win the Super Bowl. Or do you view them as, hey, they're going to be a good team, but not Super Bowl this year?
Oh, man, you're trying to get me in trouble, huh? This is crazy, Lucas, and I'm going to say something to you. First and foremost, I got the first one down, and I'm going to go to the second one because I feel good. I feel good. But this is crazy, right? Because I had a feeling today as I was, walking in the morning time. I'm like, what are the guys going to ask me? I had a feeling you were going to ask me this. I had a feeling this type of question would be asked to me. And first and foremost, this cheers is an appreciation for Lucas. I like your online game. I like your questions. Boone, Jeff, you guys are great. But this one's to you, Lucas. I like your questions that you throw out there online. You talked about the importance of defense today. It caught my attention. I'm like, that Lucas, he's underrated. I think you're doing some good stuff out there.
Shout out. Appreciate you.
Yes. Yes. Shout out to you, Lucas. Cheers to you. Now, you put me on the spot.
Take a quick swallow.
I'm torn. Get your mind out of the gutter, Booner. I'm torn because I don't want to say that the window's closed and piss off everybody. Okay. And I thought, okay, when I answer this question, I have to give a reason that has been permeating in my head throughout my fandom. This is the fan in me. This is not the guy that's the professional, the analyst, the guy that is responsible for an educated opinion. This is the fandom. And I said, if Booner, Jeff, or Lucas ask you, can they win a Super Bowl? How are you going to answer it? Here's what I'm going to say. I personally feel that when you have elevated expectations, this is me talking, John Maakaron, not the doc, not the podcaster. This is John. This is kind of how I roll. When you have super, super high expectations, like the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl, and you truly believe it, and it doesn't happen, I feel like the devastation is more. So that's how I am as a fan. I'm invested. I care. I love the feeling of winning. I hate the feeling of losing. I hate it. It hurts. It hurts too much that I can't focus. It hurts too much that I stay up till 5 o'clock replaying the game. Why did this happen? Why did the Lions lose to the 49ers? Why did this happen? Why can't this fan base get that closure, get that Super Bowl win? This deserving fan base, get that Super Bowl. Why can't they get it? This fan base deserves it. Why can't I experience that? The ultimate joy in my life would be to watch with my eyes, maybe in the stadium or maybe with my nephews and with you guys, watching the Lions win the Super Bowl. So to me, to protect myself, I lower my expectations. I say it's not going to happen. I don't expect it. I never can tell myself, John, expect the Lions to win a Super Bowl, because then it just sets you up to get that gut punch, to hurt really bad, because you want something so bad, really bad. Like you can almost feel how good it would feel to celebrate with your friends on Woodward or with the whole Lions community, with 1 million people drunk and high and just having the time of their life. You can see it. You can taste it. But I can't expect that. So I am a person that lowers his expectations. And I just tell myself, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's just not going to be expected in my heart and soul. So that if they prove me wrong,
oh, that's a dog.
When it does happen, then I feel like the joy will be superseded in my shock, in my elation, in my joy, in my holy crap, they proved me wrong. They won the Super Bowl. Like I would be stunned. I would be tearful. I would be like, all the effort I put into the job and talking, the 5,000 hours of podcast would just be a relief, would be like, yes. But I'm the kind of guy that lowers the expectation bar to protect myself from not feeling as hurt when they don't meet that. So I always say that's kind of the thesis of how I write, which is I can't sit here and tell you guys I've been hurt too much. I've been hurt as a Lions fan. Like I woke up, I remember when Barry quit. I remember when they hired the hope and love. I felt that we got Matt Millen, 4-time Super Bowl champion linebacker. He's going to turn it around. That flopped. I have all this disappointment in my head from 46 years of that. So I'm more of a defensive fan, which is I can never say I expect the Lions to win a Super Bowl. My thesis this year, I'm not going to change it no matter what. I don't care if Booner, Natalie, Mike, I don't care if the whole world says, Doc, you're a Debbie Downer, doom and gloom, calm down. My thesis from the second I saw that draft was I got hope for the future with the Lions. I got terrible fear for this year. That's the way I feel. I don't feel like they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to, fall apart. They're going to be a winning team. I predicted them to be 11-6, but for something's going to happen. Something, whatever it may be. Last year it was Jared Goff having a disastrous game. Old Goff came back, 20 injuries. Something always happens. Something. So in my mind, to share with you, that's what I thought truly is how I'm going to answer that question. I always lower the expectation because for me, and I'm not saying anybody, you guys can call me a fake fan, call me whatever you want. For me, that helps me move forward from the disappointment because I hate losing to the degree that it ruins my day. It ruins my life to the point that I say it's easier for me to just not expect it. And if it happens, I'll let all the bandwagon jumpers enjoy it and say they were there all the way around, and I'll enjoy it too. But I can't. My answer to your question, Lucas, in a roundabout way, hopefully you guys can relate to my plight, but my answer is no.
Doc, what'd you think about the signing that happened today? They brought in another interior offensive lineman, Trystan Colon, played guard, played center. Because I guess if you look at the depth of this offensive line now without Frank, you kind of had Graham as the sixth man. Now he's starting at center, but after him, you don't really have much there. Maybe you have Tate that can probably play center, but then you have Colby Sorsdahl, Yodi. But what'd you think of the signing now? A guy who's experienced, he can play center, he can play guard. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, good experience. I like it. It's competition. I still think that, he's a guy that's not going to burn the, depth chart up too much, but it's a good signing. I think that Christian laid it out there in one of his 8 guys that he thought would be a replacement. A lot of people were looking at Cologne. Versatile. I think he can do some things. And I think his numbers were good too, in terms of not giving up a lot of sacks. So that's a great signing. And anytime you can have some competition at that spot, it's going to be great. But for me personally, I just want to see Colby Sorsdahl and what he can do too. Like, he's going to be given a chance maybe at center. I want to see, does he kind of take advantage of knowing hey, wait a minute, my chance to stay on this team. If I maybe become an expert, I can be the backup. I can be Tate Ratledge's backup. I got a job for the next decade, like an Evan Brown kind of situation. So I'm very fascinated. I like the signing. I thought it was professional. I thought that it was great that they kind of addressed it pretty quickly. He was a guy that many people believe fit the Detroit Lions. And so I think it's a B+ signing, great addition to the team. Can't wait to see what he brings to training camp.
Yeah, Doc, I want to just bring up kind of like I guess this question's more so, I want you to kind of break down expectations, a little bit of a kind of a player. I know you guys do the player spotlights on your website, which I think is awesome. You guys did the UDFA, the edge rush out of Houston, I believe it was today. One player, though, I'm interested to get your feedback and thoughts on and what he will do this year. Second-year corner, Ennis Rakestraw, because he's I wasn't really he might have spoke with the media. I know you guys wrote an article about him. I haven't had time to read it. I will read it, Doc, just so you know. But I watched all the interviews last week, and guys like DJ Reed, even Jack Campbell, guys kept mentioning Ennis Rakestraw and saying that he's a guy that's standing out. Do you think there's maybe a rise of expectations out of him going into this second year? And if so, where do you kind of see him fitting into this defense outside of just special teams?
Yeah, no doubt. The one thing, Booner, a lot of the things I love about you, but I love your just honesty, your unabashed honesty. He's like, I know I saw the headline. I didn't quite read it yet. I will get to it. And so I love your a
lot of things come across my desk, Doc. It takes a while.
I can understand that. And one day my stuff will just be at the top of the notification list and you just read it first. But I'm getting there. I'm working hard. I'm glad you're seeing this stuff. And it makes me really, really happy. And like I said, I love your honesty. That's the best part. No matter how much I beg and plead, you still tell me I didn't read it, and right out in the open, which is honest and fair. But I'll say this about Ennis Rakestraw. Basically, it's his first crack at being an outside cornerback. And I think it's great. He'll have an opportunity to compete and learn from DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. I think that if you have depth there, that helps. Look, the issue at hand is going to be, can he stay healthy? That first year puts him on notice that, all right, this is a guy that's kind of dealing with a lot of injuries, and he's got to kind of learn by baptism by fire. And there's no better baptism by fire than guarding Jameson Williams. This is great. This is going to speed up his development. I thought that in our reports, he had an interception in his hand last week, but he dropped it. And he got taken advantage of early. There were times where Jared Goff knew where he was, and he was the target, and he got picked on. But then he rebounded, and he had a good series of back-to-back reps where he was right there. So it's similarly to a rookie. It's that he's going to have growing pains, but his role is going to be versatile, kind of depth situations where if Terry needs a breather, he'll get out there. And I do like the idea of a combination of Reed, Terrion Arnold, and Ennis Rakestraw on the outside. I like it because I think Amik Robertson's going to lock down the nickel spot. But the way that the Lions operate is they just want good defensive backs. So if you can train Ennis Rakestraw on the outside, get him some more experience, that can only bode well for the defense. I think he's got a chance to shine. And part of the reason is he wants to shut everybody up. He's hearing it. So you guys that are chirping online, calling him a bust already, he knows it. He feels it. He's writing it in his notepad. Hey, you guys doubt me. That's the best recipe to kind of have a comeback player, is a guy that's like, oh, you guys don't think I got it? On the other side of the coin, though, I don't know what the heck is going on with these second-round picks. Like, there's always this stigma with the Lions in the second round. They hit the first round. They hit the depth piece. That second round is just filled with guys that have a lot of question marks. I'm like, what is up with the second round? Is it because of that little intermediate stage that you got to find that right player between 30 and 60 that's just a little bit challenging? And every GM has that one thing that they struggle with. Second round for Brad Holmes. Hopefully Ratledge is an outlier, but Ennis Rakestraw, my goodness. I hope that he turns it around, and I like his competitiveness. I like his grit. I just hope his body holds up, because when you have those question marks athletically, hopefully his work in the gym, adding that muscle, will keep him healthy.
Yeah, I'm excited, Doc, to see Rakestraw out there. I think he can bring a lot to the table with his physicality. And you're talking about the outside guys there. Somebody that I don't think is getting talked about a lot, and I understand so, because he's been in the NFL for a long time, never really been like a household name by any means, but Avonte Maddox, Detroit guy, I believe he went to King, but he played with the Philadelphia Eagles, won a Super Bowl there last year, and if you watch him throughout his career, he's been a very steady NFL player. How do you think he's going to fit into this mix? Do you think that he's going to be somebody that could possibly get cut before camp? The whole Avonte Maddox situation, what are you expecting?
Yeah, I like his veteran savviness. I like his gritty getup. I think that he's got an opportunity to work himself into that rotation to be the number 3 safety. I like that. I think that gives stability to the defensive backs room. I like it. I like what he brings to the table. Clearly Branch, who is a good second-round pick. Kirby Joseph, top of the line. They're going to be out there quite a bit, but different packages will allow Avonte Maddox to compete. And I think that there's opportunities too to kind of model and showcase a little bit for Dan Jackson what to get out there. I think those are the 4 guys that most people believe will have the biggest chance to get out there. But pay attention to this name. Ian Connolly, I think, is a guy out there kind of showcasing what he's about. He's gritty. He's a guy that I think is going to compete pretty hard to probably maybe earn a spot on that practice squad. So keep that name pretty the unheralded player there. So pay attention to what he brings to the table.
Is he the one out of Grand Valley State?
Exactly.
Former teammate of Caleb Czarnik.
So there you go. Look at him. He's making noise and competing. And so I think the Lions like what he was about, caught the attention of the coaching staff. Avonte Maddox, savvy veteran, look, past his prime, but I think somebody that has the experience to kind of be like a locker room leader, kind of another coach on the field for these young guys. And also too, listen, anytime you have an opportunity to learn, like, hey, what were those guys doing in the secondary of the Eagles? That's just an amazing wealth of information that you can gather. Like, all right, what was that Vic Fangio doing? Like, how the heck did Cooper get out there like that? What's the secret? What's the deal? And to pass that along to Branch, Kirby, any nugget of info that you can get, genius signing by Brad Holmes.
And Doc, the one player that, I mean, it's a tricky one right now to kind of predict, but Tate's kind of taking a lot of the attention, rightfully so, because of the Frank Ragnow stuff. But a player that's kind of flying under the radar is Miles Frazier, who they drafted out of LSU. Is a really good player, fell into the late of the draft, 6th round, I believe. What's a fair expectation for him? Do you see? I know injuries could always happen, and there's a chance you can see the field. But what would be like a fair thing to expect out of him? Could you see him taking the field this year? Or is he more of a stash guy, and maybe in the future you see more of him? Or do you think is a immediate impact guy that could see time this year?
No, I don't see immediate impact unless there's an injury. I do think that he's got a hill to climb to get to the spot there. I think that he's a developmental player, similarly to Gio Manu. I think he's a guy that's going to work his way in. I think that he's a great, hopefully a versatile option that can maybe even work at center. Many people thought that maybe he was the guy nabbed at center, but I think that you're going to have a guard combo, left-right guard there that can do a lot of different things. Listen, I think he's a gritty guy that I like his film. His film coming out of college is pretty impressive. So I do think that he'll take an opportunity to develop and kind of get into that, what they call rotational guard spot. And if he gets his opportunity, I think he'll be just fine. That's another fun part about training camp is, look, OTAs, it's tough when you're not wearing pads because the physicality you don't kind of see shine through. Like, we don't know how Miles Frazier would handle some pushback from the strong defensive line, other than, in shoulder pads, other than, they're in shorts and they're working and you can see his footwork and hand placement and how he manages leverage and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. Hopefully we'll get a more of a deep dive because, like I said, Tate Ratledge sticks out. Like his, and he's wearing the number 69 jersey, which makes me laugh. Big dude. He just stands out. Gio Manu stands out. Mason Miller, the undrafted free agent. Pay attention to that name too. He's a kid that works hard, can play all 5 defensive line. He can play all 5 offensive line spots, and he's gritty, and he likes playing physical. So I'm looking at him as well out there. But it's just wild how Dan Skipper, Gio Manu, and Ratledge just dominate. And in terms of their physical stature, you just have to write their names in the book in terms of, hey, I looked at his rep, and I'll say this because not a lot of people were paying attention and maybe talked about it. Gio Manu looked okay. He was okay as a left tackle. So opening up that conversation, we're going to have that conversation when it's time for Taylor to hang it up. Do you keep Penei Sewell at right and Gio Manu at left? Or do you, I'm more like, that's Jared Goff. That's $50 million a year. I don't care how good Gio looks. I agree. You put Penei at the left side and you guys battle it out for the right spot. But Gio anchored well. He looks, he got better. He looks better. Footwork was better. Hand placement was there. He was not pushed back in the leverage game. He held his own. He anchored. He looked okay in certain spots. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him and the opportunity that he presents himself in future practices down the road too in training camp. So pay attention to Gio Manu, man. That's a big man. And if his athleticism shines and he gets the fundamentals down, maybe he'll be a guy that we can say works out.
Doc, I want to throw out there real quick, probably, and I think this is a good thing. I don't think this is a bad thing, but the most hyped player out of OTAs over the last week or so has been Jameson Williams. What are your thoughts on JMO this year? Is there a legit chance, and you hear a lot of people talk about, we've talked about it on this show, of him even taking a bigger step, becoming potentially even leading the team in receiving yards? What do you think of that? And what do you think of Jameson Williams offseason and OTAs so far? Is the hype real is what I'm asking here.
That's a great question, right? It's a great question. The one-handed grab, you saw JMO, 5 pounds of muscle. Yeah, I think the hype's real. I think that he's a guy that wants to be great. I think that he knows the dollar signs are there. You look at wide receivers, they're making big-time money, $30 million a year. You got a teammate making $30 million. But I want to say this before I get into my football knowledge. Was it wrong of me to tweet that there's now – I get it. I understand it, but I don't know how to feel about it. There's a corporate JMO that we talked to, and there's the guy that was shirtless in the car inviting the gals on DM. That is uniquely different, that speak differently. So I'll ask you, who would you guys want to hang out? I think I want to hang out with number 2. I want to hang out with after hours JMO a little bit more than I'm torn. I want to hang out with corporate JMO a little bit more and talk about X's and O's and tosses from Jared Goff, things like that. But the other guy, the guy that's like, hey, shorties, hit me up on the DM, that guy sounds like fun too. And so I'm torn. I'm like 50-50. Which one do I like? But it's funny where he goes from the same day, within 3 hours, he's like, I'm more mature. I'm ready to go. And then 3 hours later, he's shirtless in the car, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Hey, shorties, hit me up in the DM. Slide in. I want only the good ones." So I found that to be very uniquely appealing. His corporate JMO versus after hours JMO. Two personalities, two different dialects. I mean, just talk like that. Listen, be yourself. We don't need corporate JMO. Send that out the window. Like, we know who you are. You don't have to be corporate. We're not going to judge you. I want to see more after hours JMO at Allen Park. Be like, "Listen, Doc, tired of your shit. Write some better stuff about me. Otherwise, I'm gonna send some things after you, or be real. Don't be corporate." But it's okay. I understand the reasoning why you got to do it. I got to kind of play that game too. I'm not as good as he is. He's a little bit better at it and can draw more positivity. JMO is a guy that is an amazing talent. The speed is there. You see, I don't know if like I said, we all watched with that fandom. Do you like the video highlight of him blowing past Ennis Rakestraw? It looked like he was going 80% speed, and it was easy to get past Ennis Rakestraw. It looked like he was just gliding out there. It was awesome to see. And that's the great thing, is that at any one moment, JMO can turn on the jets, and he can be unbelievably unguardable. I just want to see that every single week. That's why I go out there. The talent on the field is absolutely amazing, and it's great to see Jamison Williams. I'm excited to see. I like the talent. Hopefully, if we can get this year, 2026 and 2027 with a franchise tag, if we can get 3 more years of JMO, I would be okay with that. And then let some other team pay him the $150 million when he's 26 years old, and you can get another young receiver on a young contract. Man, the hype is real. And I think this year, I was just having a conversation before we talked. I don't know if he'll ever be the 100 reception guy every single time, every single year, but I do think the 50 catches that he gets, a good chunk of them are going to be explosive plays. And he's just one of those players that when you just gravitate towards him, because he's got the personality, the likable personality, and he's got the electric flair that pays bills, that people want to come see and pay money to see. He's box office, and he's got the rare speed talent to be an explosive playmaker, and that's what people like.
And kind of behind him, you talk about that up-and-coming receiver, Doc. What do you talked about Miles Frazier, kind of the same thing that we've been asking about these guys at OTAs. What do you expect out of Isaac Tesla? Because Jamison Williams, valuable. Amon-Ra St. Brown, valuable. Sam Laporta, valuable. Tim Patrick, the chemistry between him and Jared Goff, it seems to be picking up, and I think he's very good for this team. Where does Isaac Tesla fit into that mix this year, and what do you expect from him in OTAs and training camp?
Well, first and foremost, I want to see him out there. Hopefully he's out there this week. We can start to see. I think he's going to be a great possession receiver. I think he's going to battle a lot to be the traditional X receiver that Brad Holmes likes. He'll be a guy like Tim Patrick, the guy that's in that, eventually work up to be a 30 to 50 catch guy, reliable when you need him on third down, can be a guy that contested catches. I like what I see. The potential of what you see on film is great. I do think that he's got here's the thing, which when you start digging into film and watching all the games, my God, Arkansas's quarterback was ass last year. My God, he should have been complaining. He should have been out there in front of the media. This is what you guys are doing in NIL era. Give me some guy that can throw me the damn ball. My God, Arkansas's quarterback was pure ass. I was like, this guy sucks. I was like, man, I didn't like watching that film at all. I wanted to turn that shit off. But Tesla, in the couple years he was there, I thought that he was sure-handed. I thought that he was a guy that was competitive. I can high point the ball. I was pretty impressed. Not impressed with the quarterback play. That's why his route tree was limited. That quarterback couldn't do a lot of things. He was limited in what he was capable of. So that's why Isaac Tesla's numbers don't look as good. A lot of it was their crappy offensive line. The quarterback wasn't elite, but Tesla still stood out in a lot of the film. So look, athletic receivers that can get open. Now, it's not a direct comparison based on speed and stuff, but Lions fans will recall Anquan Bolden, just a guy that you can throw the ball to and he'll be open and he'll just catch the ball. A pro. Now, not similar body types, not similar raise, none of that kind of similarities, but in terms of prototypical style, a guy that can get open, trust him, Be where you need to be, time the route perfectly, catch the ball. TeSlaa will be that guy. I think that Brad Holmes found something there with a guy that can work hard. And here's the best part. He wants to do it for Detroit. He's a hometown guy, like all of us. He wants to try his ass off to make sure that he shines for the team that he grew up watching. That extra motivation will get him over the hump on those tough days.
Yeah, Doc, I got to ask you, because we had you on before OTAs and you talked about maybe Hendon Hooker, a big player to watch for OTAs. Can you kind of give me an update for how he's looked, good or bad? I've seen some different reporting, maybe not the most positive, Doc, and you just kind of get your take on that whole thing. Is this backup situation more concerning than you thought headed into it?
Now, Jeff, I'm going to be tougher on you. No, I'm just kidding. I wrote an opinion piece at Detroit Lions on SI. I think this year, which is always, I am humble. I am surprised sometimes I'm not surprised by a lot of things. I am surprised how many people will read and comment my opinion pieces, which are always highlighted by my word. The first word of the piece on Twitter will be opinion. This is what I'm thinking. Okay. And so I appreciate that you guys have welcomed me and to say, okay, let me see what this guy's saying. And then you'll debate me on the merits. Here was my opinion that I shared at Detroit Lions on SI after OTAs. I was like, man, there's nowhere you read that Hendon played well, because he didn't. And I read everybody's piece. I read everybody's work, top to bottom. And everybody said the same thing, because I do like to, I tend to be more hypercritical of players than most people would be, because I'm a perfectionist. I want things to go perfectly like a coach would. And so, but sometimes I'm like, probably I'm a little bit tougher on my evaluations than a lot of people would be. And everybody said Hendon Hooker did not look good at OTAs. So my opinion piece was, if you guys recall, Brad Holmes has in the past, and a time when I was out there in 2022, Brad Holmes wiped out the backups. It was Tim Boyle and David Blau. And everybody said, these guys are not good enough. And most of us didn't have the guts to drop them both in our 53-man projections. This looks like the same. Kyle Allen out there at OTAs would have got destroyed by Hassanin. Held the ball too long. Nobody was open. Didn't look good. Hendon Hooker held the ball too long. Didn't look great. Wobbly passes. One pass just, oof. And so right away, what I like to do after a practice is just throw out my first thought without going through the notebook. And one of my first thought was that you can see after practice at Detroit Podcast was, Hendon Hooker looks the same to me. Like, it looked like the exact same replica that I saw 12 months ago. The exact same thing, holding on to the ball too long. Nobody's open and he's not hitting targets. I was like, show me something, anything. I was looking for anything, any crumb of positivity. It wasn't there. So my opinion piece was, I would be okay with two new quarterbacks. I would be okay if they just took the scraps from the Browns. If it's the loser of the Pickett Flacco battle, bring him on. This one I can't say into the microphone without laughing, but some national reporter said the Lions should peek at Will Levis. I almost died laughing. I said, we're not that desperate, but I would be, in my humble opinion, I welcome you to read it. Feel free, message me at Detroit Podcast if I was way harsh at OTAs, but this is 3 years. And I haven't seen nothing that would indicate to me that there was growth in regards to what I'm seeing at practice. Now, it's early, but Hendon's the backup. He's a backup quarterback, and I think the competition level in the National Football League is super tough. And I would not be surprised, and I would not even mind if they at the end of training camp said we need two new backups and go out and get them, upgrade, because Hendon can be okay. He can be a serviceable backup, but at the same time, if the expectation is, can you find better? I think you can in the landscape of the 32 teams, which is Sports Illustrated ranked Hendon Hooker 16th, right in the middle of the backups. So you don't think you could find a top 10 backup that you can get in here and compete? What does it say? And guys, read the tea leaves. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater off the scrap heaps to play. Okay. And then they brought in Kyle Allen to compete with Hendon Hooker. So it's not his job automatically. He's got to earn it. He's just got to show something. Show me anything. And I think starting this next practice, show me something, a deep pass to a receiver that's open, connect, let go of the football, stop holding on to it. Just fire it at somebody, even if it's 1-2, fire the ball. So in essence, from what the last 7 days were, it wasn't great. Hooker, you can read my thoughts.
All right. I'm sorry about that. Someone in the chat.
The music was great. What a wonderful touch.
Yeah, Jeff, if people could see him off camera, he was for the last 5 minutes of this Hendon Hooker thing. And Jeff, he has been going through it.
Yeah, if you find anything positive from last week from Hendon Hooker, send it to me because I just love to read it because nobody wrote anything nice. They were all like, "Ooh, that was not nice. That was not good."
I'm interested.
Not good.
I saw Boone. I think Boone said something positive.
No, I did not. I've been saying go get another backup for the last year.
Yeah.
Hey, if after year 2, I mean, they had to go out and get someone with experience or not. I mean, he's 28, 7, 8 years old. It's kind of past that point. Doc, I just want to get a weekly update. We'll do this each week, a weekly Tigers update for you. How you feeling about this team? I know last night was a little rough, but are we feeling good about this Tigers team? What's some updates here from you? Get some things off your chest here with this Tigers team.
Yeah, no problem. It's great. And I'll say this. It's early. It was early, and he has a chance to grow with it. But I'm just like, any sign of progress, anything, give me a crumb, a nugget. And so if you guys did find anything positive about Hendon, send it my way because I read everybody and I was like, okay, good. My calibration was pretty fair. Man,
calibration is a great word.
Calibration. My calibration right now is good. I'm spot on. But tomorrow might be a little off because I'm gonna probably hit 2 more of these after because I'm loving the fact that I'm just 24 hours away from 5 weeks of just pure relaxation and fun and podcasting and no Detroit Lions media coverage. I'll say this, the Detroit Tigers now, guys, this is the best spot to be in. You know why? The national media is talking about adding. Yes. Now the name that they add, I mean, give me a little better than Bo Bichette. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. Go better than that. Aim for the fences, aim for the stars, not a guy with limited defensive range. Yes, great bat, like the guy. But I want more. Aim for the fences. And someone, I don't know if it was one of you guys, was like, let's just go out and get Bregman and no, it wasn't you guys, but it was funny to see. Go out and get Bregman and Aroldis Chapman. I'm like, yes, go out and add talent, even though it's not remotely possible. But the thesis is great, which is credit to the Tigers. They're winning games. They don't play well in a series against the Guardians. Boom, they bounce right back and whoop the ass of the next team. Now, the bullpen games are not as fun as they were last year. They got their ass spanked against the White Sox. It's a little bit challenging, to see the difference between the starters and then bullpen days, but that's fine. Kerry Carpenter, 3 home run days. This is a good baseball team, guys. And so you guys are at the forefront. You should be hammering, add to this team. Add. Don't be scared. Don't be one of those people that's just like, I don't want to upset the apple cart. Just like I've always said, in the realm of talent acquisition, more. They got 26 good players. I want 26 more good players. You should always want more. You're a fan. So demand, bang the drum into get more talent for this baseball team. And that would indicate a right-handed bat and another pitcher. And you get 2-3 more guys. Even Booner and his Booner path and his positive Pete angles. This is a baseball team that if they add 2 to 3 more quality players can win a World Series. They can compete to be there with the Dodgers. Maybe a 7-game loss, as my little pessimistic heart would say. They'll compete. They won't get blown out.
They're winning it all, Doc.
No, they're not. They're not.
Calm down.
Today, without adding, Booner, get your head out of the clouds.
They're going to add, and they're going to win it all.
Why am I telling you into this microphone, add? They're not good enough. They are not good enough compared to the Dodgers, who have all-world players at every spot. And when the time comes, they're going to buy 4 more guys at $100 million. They spit on our payroll and look at us and go, okay, we spent that on a reliever and a pitcher. So don't worry about the Dodgers right now. Make sure you keep winning games at the clip that they are. The pitching staff is great. Tariq Skubal is all-world, amazing pitcher. The offense is great. Every button that AJ Hinch is pushing is amazing. I'm loving watching it. I think this is a quality baseball team. But if they don't add, if they if they get to the point where it's time to start, Scott Harris told us when it's time to leverage the owner for more assets and resources, he's going to be there, and I'm going to hold him to account. This baseball team right now, as is not good enough to win a World Series, probably good enough to get there, but the Guardians have their number right as of right now, and you have some holes that potentially could pop up in the bullpen that you got to tighten up. But guys, let's enjoy the ride. I think they're winning this game right now.
4-0.
Yeah, so enjoy the wins. It's a great baseball team to watch. I can't wait to see the Cubs series. Maybe I'll have to get down there. They credential me to watch baseball for free the last couple of years. It's an amazing blessing to be able to go down to Comerica Park and learn and expand the horizons besides football. But man, it's a great baseball team. My humble opinion is enjoy the ride, but you need 3 more players to begin to be in that conversation of winning it all this year. The Dodgers are just nice team out there out west, and you can get up there and compete. You can compete with them. You're in the conversation. That's a blessing in of itself. But if you're talking to me seriously about winning and to get over my little pessimistic heart, you got to add some more talent and more than just a Bo Bichette, which a national writer brought up, which is good. Start that conversation. And hey, any conversation about adding talent that we can start here from the ground floor level, do it. Add talent to this team, and you can get this baseball team over the hump.
Doc, we got some chat questions I want to go to here. First one, Peter Manning says, Doc, any Broderick news?
That's what sucked. He wasn't there. So hopefully he's there. By all the early pictures, he's a little bit more athletic and slimmed down. Here's the news. No update as of yet. I'm hoping that when we get a chance to see him finally, he looks more athletic and able to compete. He has a chance to have an imprint on this defensive line, but he's got to be consistent.
All right, we got another one. Waldo Lie question for the Doc. What's a more likely outcome? Lions advance to the Super Bowl. The Lions finish second in the NFC North.
What's more the likely outcome? Oh man, that's a really good one. Ball don't lie. I like this team to be a division winner. I feel like they're in the heads of the division. They know that they're confident coming off of last year 6-0 in the division. So, and this is something too I always think about too, because I've said it out loud a couple times. What's the next heartbreak for the Lions? We've already felt the Jared Goff disappointment. We had old Jared Goff. Check, cross that off. We've already been close to the Super Bowl. Cross that off. What's next? I hate to put this juju out there, but I've said it 1,000 times on podcasts. If you listen to Detroit Lions on SI on YouTube, you've now heard it probably 15 times. What's next for the aura of the Detroit Lions? What's next for my little aching sports fan heart that wants to win? Super Bowl loss. We got to take one, don't we? We got to take one. I feel like, but that doesn't mean we won't ever get one. But I feel like the Lions' legacy of building up the hype, Booner screaming his head off, Booner in the Super Bowl city, Booner with the his friends in San Francisco, cheering, having a good time with a letdown, and down goes the pride in San Francisco. So the Lions advance to the Super Bowl is a more likely outcome.
Let's all right. Unbroken says, Doc, who is your top training camp candidate who was on the roster from last season? Your top training camp candidate, like breakout candidate, maybe?
Yeah, if they can film it. Who was your top training camp candidate who was on the roster last season? I mean, there's so many training camp players that I want to see. I think that there's a lot of players that can break out. Players to watch, clearly, Corby Sorsdahl is a guy on the bubble. You want to see him a little bit take the next step. I do want to see the rookies. I think Tesla, Hassanin. I want to see Tyleik Williams, what he looks like in the middle. Guys that, here's the probably in the framework maybe of your question. If it's a little different, let me know. I want to see Sione Vaki. Can he compete with Craig Reynolds? Can he go out there and take his job? I do think he's an untapped potential. I like what a lot of people were saying. So I hope to see his development over the course of the next couple months.
Let's see. Ben Blue says, Doc, Mailbag, what Lions unit is better by season's end, the O-line or the D-line?
D-line. I think Casey Rogers is highly underrated. I think that guys will develop and they will start to bring it. And Aiden's back. Aiden's got to be hungry. If they don't give him that contract, he's going to want to be destroying people. So it'll be a fun opportunity to see them grow and develop, and pay attention to Hassanin. I think he's got the right gritty mindset. He spoke to the doc. You can check out the Q&A and the audio of two Middle Eastern men and having a conversation and talking about football.
All right. We love you, Doc. Good stuff today. Enjoy your enjoy your night.
Thank you, Doc.
Tomorrow, and then you get your 5 weeks off, Doc. But we'll still have you on Wednesdays as always. Keep crushing, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for tolerating me in my state. I appreciate it. It's a great time for Detroit Lions. Look, OTAs are one thing, but training camp, when it rolls around, it's going to be awesome. Keep grinding, keep going. And like I said, be yourselves. That's the best part of what you guys do is you guys are yourselves. And when the news hits, I see your guys' stuff. So that's all I can ask for is to have a little spot in your guys' little world. And I appreciate it. Thank you as you guys grow. And I think, I don't know, I asked, are you guys at 14,000 yet? I haven't peaked yet, but crush it, guys. Crush it. These guys deserve to be at 15,000.
That like button.
Yeah, let's go.
Subscribe.
There you go.
The 15,000. Let's go, boys. Cheers.
There you go. The DOC.
There we go, Doc. Love you, Doc.
Loves the fellas.
He's gone.
Is always doing a great job. He's just an absolute legend. You're always going to get a couple gems from the Doc while he's on in that 2-hour span. It's just kind of how it is. By the way, get your questions ready. Drop your questions for Mailbag.
Our Mailbag. There we go. Now we got back-to-back mailbags.
By the way, Easeth.
Hey, wait. Before you say where we're going, let's not give our location out for everyone.
I mean, what do we move like? What are we, the president? I mean,
listen. We've got Booner has some haters now. I don't know, man.
Booner's gonna get jumped.
I can't believe you said that about Jameson Williams or Sam Laporta.
Yeah, no, I mean I would say the spot we're always at.
I already text Easy. I text him on the side.
Spot we're always at, dude. Yeah, I had a great time with Easy, man. Got to see him
dude. I text you guys. It was one of the best days I've had in a long time. I needed that. That was fun.
He's hilarious. I just shout out to Easy. I just checked my phone today and I just noticed a voicemail from Saturday.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude left me a voicemail and he's just it's so genuine, dude. I just love that.
He's the best, dude.
He's just I didn't even see it until today. Nick P says, I'm driving up from Florida to hate on you, Boone. Watch out. Yeah, watch out. Man.
AG's Burner's at semi-location. It's at the New York Giants facility, AG's Burner.
Yeah. He's out in British Columbia.
I can't remember what his actual name is on here. I forgot, but
Tyler
Chevet. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Come across the bridge, Tyler. Back in with Giovanni Manu. He's from British Columbia. He'll know where we're at. Don't worry. We might be out with Giovanni Manu. He might, honestly, as much stock as we're pumping out for Giovanni, he might.
Did you hear the doc?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's something, man. Mm-hmm. That's something. Something's happening there.
Joe Rogan get a DUI?
No, not Joe, man.
Can't go out like that, Joe.
Not Joe, dude. There's no way.
Let's see.
No, I don't see anything.
I don't see anything.
Joe Rogan DUI. Give me some.
Not Joe, dude. He had O's the Mentalist on, though, recently, I see here.
He had a car accident in 2015?
Not Uncle Joe. There's no way. Let's see. Ben Blue asks a question. He says, Mailbag, that franchise guy, started his own annual deep dive series on NFL teams that he brings on guests for some of them. Have any of y'all considered going on if you know TFG? I wasn't too familiar, to be honest with you. I have recently become familiar, and I've already reached out to him a couple months ago. He just hasn't gotten back to me. Just about having him on
guy. Can you send me him, Jeff? I want to see what
he's like a content creator, NFL guy. I actually asked him to come on the show, and he didn't respond. So
okay, yeah, I'll send him to me. I want to watch some of his stuff. I'm never.
We'd love to collab. I mean, if he wants to talk Lions, he can have any of the fellas on the show. It would be great.
Someone in the chat before was saying something about the beard guy. I watched his show the other day for a little bit.
The Hat and Beard show?
Yeah, I watched it a little bit.
So he has not reached back. So hey, it's okay. It happens, It happens, is what it is. By the way, Doc We actually saw the doc out before watching the fights, man.
At Art and Jake's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
We saw him at Art and Jake's. He was just sitting there with some of his boys having a brewski.
Yeah, we went right up there over like the DLC.
I'll tell you what. I've never in college we did some fights, like the big fights, like the McGregor fights. We never did like it was just like once a year, twice a year. The last year or two, like some of my favorite things to look forward to is Saturday nights going and watching the fights.
Isn't it
the bar?
I genuinely like enjoy it. I tell where I live, I tell my family I'm going Saturdays. Like they know like Saturday nights, if there's a big fight, I'm going somewhere to watch it with the boys.
There's nothing. It used to just be me and Jake. And then now we're like getting more people. It's so much fun now with like more people.
I'm there every single big fight. I'm there. And I don't think we've missed a big fight in a year. I think we've been at every single big fight. And I mean, I don't know what is it called? Like the numbered fights, the ones that are actually like UFC 230.
Yeah, the UFC main events and stuff like that.
We're at every single. We've watched every one over the last like year.
Pay-per-views, basically.
And I look forward to them, man. They're my favorite, dude.
Great times.
Yeah,
I come up again soon.
Yeah, it's such a good time. Just get like a bunch of apps, wings, a drink or two, and just hang out for like 7 hours at a bar just watching fights, dude. Like how much better is that? Just watching absolute what did they call them back in the day?
Gladiators.
Just watching gladiators go to war versus each other, drinking and having a beer, having some wings, get some chips and dip, and you're just sitting there just like for 7 straight hours. Like,
do you know what the beautiful thing about it is? No one's talking sports, like debates or anything. It's just like you're away from everything, just watching the fight,
messing with each other, having a good time.
Yeah, it's just
my favorite is. I'll just say this: every time we go, we put a couple bucks on a parlay. We don't do a lot. Just have Jeff has given me a parlay for the last year.
And they're
year and a half.
By the way, you got to preface by saying like, I really give it my all.
No, he thinks about it and he goes, I'm doing a 3-leg. Like I'm going to give him 3 winners and we're going to win this thing. I think the first, let's say a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, whenever we first started going, within the first 4 weeks of going, he hit one, I think. And it was like a plus 300. It wasn't anything crazy. All right, good hit. It's been over a year since Jeff has given us a winning parlay.
Yeah, dude.
And he's like so hard, 20 man. Straight losses. Dude, and it's at the point where it's like, dude, I don't know, like if I should do my own. I don't know if
betting is so hard, man. It's so
20
hard.
Straight. And that's not an exaggeration. That is like serious. This man has he can't hit one.
It's not even honestly. It's not even UFC betting. I should say it's UFC parlays. Those are hard because how many times have we had 2 of 3 hit? So many times.
Every single time we have 2 of 3 hit, it's always like the last fight. And this guy, Jeff, cannot. He can, or it's either the last fight or it's the first fight and we're done for the night. We don't have a parlay. It's the worst. It's the worst. What we need is we need to get like some really big UFC dudes in our chat or that watch us. And you need to go out and like recruit people. And don't tell me. Just go recruit people and get a parlay a winner. And you don't have to tell me that you didn't do it yourself. I just want you to be able to be like, I did this.
One time we used Robbie from Barstool's information and we lost.
And he usually hits. It was like the one week.
It's that Jeff, man, I'm telling you.
It's awesome.
We need something, Jeff. But this Saturday, I need and don't just be like Sean O'Malley plus 230.
No, I'm already working.
I want a 3-leg parlay. That is, I don't want a minus 200. Look at what the boost is. Make sure we get the boost, the plus 300, whatever it is.
I already got one I like, and I'm debating, and I have to sharpen it up, but I got one, I think.
Okay. But I this Saturday, dude, I want one. Like I want one.
Yeah. I got it. I think it's like plus 300. I got one. But without the boost.
Okay. When they put the boost out, then we'll start talking.
The big one, the only one I'm worried about is really just the Sean O'Malley part. That's the only one I'm worried
If you have him winning, I'm out. I'm not sure. I'm not putting him in a parlay. I'll bet him straight up just to have a little dog in the fight because it's such a big underdog. But I'm not doing Sean O'Malley in a parlay. There's just no. He does, but that's just like that's not a smart parlay. That's plus 200. You put money on that on its own.
I'm betting with my heart.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Parlay. I want you. You have what's today? Wednesday. You have 72 hours. Get a parlay together for me. Don't have Sean O'Malley in there. Give me a real parlay.
Zach says, Mailbag, do you think we use some of the money we got back from Frank's retirement to bring Zadarius back?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they should definitely look at it. I hope so, I should say. I don't know.
I'll say yes.
That's another one. My heart's telling me they don't.
I'm not reporting this, Achor, but I'm saying yes. My opinion, as we are an opinionated show, I say yes. We're not journalists.
Yeah, that's
nada. No Haloti. Shout out to him.
That's a tough one to call, man. It just is. It just is. Shout out, by the way. I see people. We have some UFC fans in the chat too. Shout out also Jesse Adams. He used to send UFC parlays in the chat. He's not here today, but he
did. I asked him a couple weeks ago to send me one when we went out, and he sent it to me 10 seconds before the fight, so I didn't get it in. He said, "Oh, my bad. I forgot to send it." But
hey, shout out to the doc, man. Shout out to the doc. It was a great show today. Appreciate you all. And man, let's keep pushing. Let's get to 15,000. We're doing giveaways soon, so look forward to that. But until tomorrow, we'll be back 8 p.m. Much love to you all.
Love you guys.
Peace.